No, it's hi again. So it's 6:03, and I'm so happy to see it. So many people, wonderful, and welcome. And I'm so happy to start Dragon World 2. It's not too long. So I'm very grateful that you're here. And also I am honored that you chose, spend your time working on this design. And also like for it's not a cheap thing to do. So whatever yarn you're using, Anemone or whatever else. So I'm very, very grateful. So thank you so much for coming. So and again, if you want to talk, ask question, please unmute yourself. It's very casual. I didn't bring my wine. Like I can drink wine and do this right now, but so I wanted to do it, but yesterday I actually went under very unexpected small oral surgery. So I think I'm okay. I was really puffy in the morning. So, but I cannot drink at all. So I wanted to be more as a party vibe, but I have my tea. That's all I have. So yeah. Oh, Patty is from Ecuador. I don't see you. I don't see everybody. Well, welcome, Patty. It's so nice to see you. And if anybody wants to say hi and where they're from, go ahead. And if you want to just sit and knit, that's absolutely fine. Like sometimes I just like just to be present on events like that and just listen. So I want to tell you a few things. Before or while you start knitting what you have now, you would be able to download what is in your library is 3 files. I don't have a third one. It's just a chart, like an enlarged chart. But you have faded version pattern, and this is 12 pages long. And one color, which you see here, one color version, which is 10 pages long. So I could have just, have one pattern and just say, okay, just work with one color. But I find that this design is quite engaging. And again, not wine friendly, at least at the beginning. We talked about it before. So so I thought it would be easier. So if you decide to work with one color, it would be easier to have a completely separate file. So you are not distracted by this. And the reason why this is 12 pages long and one color is 10 is because, and maybe, hi, I'm gonna read chat in a second. The reason why it's 12 pages long is because, and maybe you already saw it there, fade is written into the pattern. So again, this is not a very easy pattern. I mean, it's logical, but it's not super easy. So I thought if you have to really pay attention to, to my pattern, and you have to keep in mind or have a separate fade formula, whatever formula you like, kind of keep in mind those two things, it's just too much. So I decided, and I did it for my previous faded dragon one too, is just to write it into the pattern. So and it's actually because you're using 4 different skeins of yarn for the fading. You're gonna have rows written in 4 different colors. So I thought it would be kind of like nice to follow, and also so it's color coded, and it will tell you step by step what to do. Drop yarn A, switch to yarn B, and so on. And one thing I wanted to mention that you will never use more than 2 yarns at once. So it's never going to be like you have to manipulate 3 yarns. It's only like 2 and then you switch. But I think I'm really happy with the way the fading done for this one. And another reason why I wanted to write fade into the pattern is because if you're using just some fading formula, and you start introducing new yarn, a new color, if you introduce it in the wrong spot, what's going to happen? It may disappear because you have such a three-dimensional texture, it could be completely covered. So that's why it's very important when you start introducing new yarn, new color. So it just to make the most out of it. So that's that's my little speech about that. So another thing I wanted to underline, and in the pattern, when you open on a page 2, it will tell you, please read notes on page 3 before you start. And it is important. So I'll go just short, kind of like go through that kind of quick. So one of the things a lot of people make kind of like, I have a lot of questions because we are conditioned to think that the knit side is the right side. In this case, purl side is the right side. So you see right there. So I would have people emailing me and telling me, how come everybody's dragon shawl looks beautifully textured and mine's completely flat? So I already know the answer, but I ask them to send me a picture. And what they do, they send me a picture of this, of the wrong side. So all I say is like, just flip it. So flip it, and that's what you're gonna have. So yeah, purl side is the right side. And I also I did it also intentionally because I think purl side, when you work with the hand-dyed yarn, is actually makes it more like a dragony, it's less conventional. I love it personally. Any questions? No? Okay. So you can just ask me. It's very casual thing. So so another thing is, you probably, if you're already working and it's Susan, you probably know that which is great. I'm excited that you started early. That increasing and decreasing are done on the right and wrong side. So that's what makes this design kind of not wine friendly. So this, you really have to pay attention. There's no relaxed rows, almost. There are, but you're not there yet probably. So yeah, so you have to pay attention. And one thing which I actually put here for Dragon Lord 2 is, and I got a lot of kind of grief over it, because people apparently absolutely hate doing purl 2 together through the back loop. So people were asking me, why is it there? What's the point? Very simple. So because I'm OCD and perfectionist, so it's all about the wrong side. So if I show you, so if you want to have on the wrong side, it doesn't show on the right side. Those beautiful, perfectly straight, those neat kind of rows here, that's why you need to do it. But you can substitute, and it's in the notes, so you can read it in the notes. So if you absolutely hate purl 2 together through the back loop, you can just change it to purl 2 together. That's it. It will not change how it looks on the right side. It's all about the wrong side. So if you're going to change it to purl 2 together, you're going to have just a little kind of lines here. It's not going to be perfectly straight. It's going to be angled. That's it. That's all the difference. So hopefully, it's if this, you okay with it, which is absolutely fine, of course. It's go for it. Change it to purl 2 together, okay? So, but I had to put it on a pattern because just for my own kind of sanity. So, what else I wanted to tell you? I do suggest to place markers where it says in the pattern. It's very important. Because if you just start putting your own markers wherever you think is it should be there, you can lose count of your stitches there. Because here is it's very important to remember 2 numbers. And if you're not far in the pattern, like just remember the numbers and it will make sense later. So one repeat is 18 stitches. And so it's very important that you have your stitch markers exactly where I said in a pattern. So it would be 18 stitches in between. And on the side, when you will be at the point where you're casting on the side, it will be either 9 or 18. So two numbers, 18 and 9. That's it. Just remember that. So if you're missing some stitches, nobody's going to die. You can cheat just a little bit, okay? But cheat with dignity. So what I suggest to do, if you're not right at the beginning, but you already made, some progress, and you count in, like, you just see something is off. So you see that you don't have 18 stitches, maybe you have 17. So most probably you forgot the yarn over. Just pick it up, on the row above. Don't go back, because we're doing increasing and decreasing on both sides. You don't have this relaxed row where you can just, like go back very easily. So just cheat. Okay. Any questions so far? No?
I think a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think someone still needs to mute themselves.
I'm trying to. Some people I can't. Oddly, I don't know why. They wouldn't let me. So it felt like somebody's in the car, right?
It did.
Yeah. The sound was like it's in the car.
I did have a question about the purl two together through the back loop.
Yeah.
So I was doing some quick research this afternoon, and I saw that there were alternative methods for doing the purl two together through the back loop that gave the same effect on the right side.
And purl through and purl two together?
Yeah, will one of those alternative methods give us the same effect? Nope. So we got to do it the hard way.
You don't have to. You can just do it purl two together. But I did because somebody was telling me that, if you just sleep and then purl two together, it's going to be the same. It's not. It does not give you this those lines. It still kind of goes under the angle. So
Gotcha.
if you are as OCD as I am, it will bother you. But if you are more relaxed and normal person, it's fine. It's like really nobody, who cares? It's on the wrong side. So at the front, it's all gonna look the same. So, but unfortunately, this is a great question, but unfortunately it doesn't work. So it just doesn't turn it just doesn't work. So I tried.
Thank you.
Sure.
I was like, oh, well, I can just do one of these other things. And it wouldn't be that easy, because it's going to bother me too if I don't
There you
have
go. There
nice
you go.
little windows, because I like those little windows.
Perfect. Well, windows will be there here.
Well, I mean, but the straight lines.
Yes. It's all about just perfectly straight lines.
Right.
Yeah. So, but I have to tell you, you can ask people who've done more, like Daniel, who done 7 dragon shawls. So once you actually like that far, it gets much easier, because in the beginning, even for me, like when I start, and I've done more than 7, I've done like, I don't know, 27, I don't know how many I've done. So when you just starting, it feels very awkward, especially because we're increasing and decreasing right at the edges. But let me tell you about the edges. So don't kill yourself over making it absolutely perfect. And I'm perfectionist, and I'm telling you why. Is very simple. So when we cast on 18 stitches, that's what we cast on right here. And we need those little triangles. And I usually when I teach this class, which is like 2 or 3 hours, I actually Okay, please don't bark at me. Sorry. I don't know why is he upset. Can you hear my dog, right? It's not my dog, it's actually my daughter's dog. Oops. Right, right. It's an event going on. You're being rude, okay? Here, here. So, so what happens is like I give the whole little speech of why like it took me 2 years to figure out the whole pattern. So it's like to the point that I actually like it because I didn't want to have really awkward bad edging. In this design, I love how it came out, the edging, because it looks very clean and nice. And it's all because we have those little triangles, which are extra, but they're essentials. They're essential for the pattern. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna block them to the wrong side. You wouldn't be able to see it. And then we will attach them to the, just sew them to the wrong side, but don't get scared. It doesn't take very long time because we're attaching just a little points to the main fabric. And it's actually much faster than you would think. I have a video on finishing techniques, how to do it, and you will see it. It just, you think, oh, it's gonna take forever. It's not. So, but it's just, it gives very nice and clean finish. So when you are thinking about like, oh, if I purl two together and it doesn't look perfect at the edge, that's what you're doing. It's you increasing and decreasing right here at the edges. So, and then it would be blocked on the wrong side. So don't kill yourself over it. So the most important part is right here. So the edging is not that important, okay? I mean, it will be blocked. And so also when I say like, when you have to cast on, I don't know where you in the pattern, but when you have to start casting on 9 stitches on the side, that's what you're casting on, those 9 stitches here. So I suggest the super easy way, and I have a video tutorial linked in a pattern how to do it. You can substitute this casting on the side in any style you like. Some people like cable cast on the side. Maybe you have some other, other technique. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter because it's, just be consistent. And again, it will be blocked. Nobody will see it. I mean, you will see it, but it's not that important because so many people during classes, they will say, oh, it looks sloppy. Doesn't matter. It's just to help us, those triangles, to create this 3-dimensional space. Another thing I want to say, which you did not hear me say, you don't have to make a swatch. So I'm not discouraging you, but I'm just giving you kind of what to look for. So the way we create this 3-dimensional structure, those 3-dimensional dragon scales, is by knitting it tight. That's it. So you just look at my stitches here, touch it, touch yours and see if it's firm. It doesn't have holes unless like you're looking at yarn overs. This is fine. So think of sock knitting. That should be kind of your guideline. And if your stitches tighter than mine, even better. So that's why we're using US3 needles for decay weight yarn. Because I don't want you to go and like intentionally knit tight. I don't want you to struggle. But at the same time, you just have to be aware it could not be loose. Because, I mean, you do whatever you want, but the more tighter it is, the better quality, 3-dimensional quality your piece is going to have. It would be just easier. Any questions so far? No? Okay. Does it make sense what I said? Okay, wonderful. So another thing, so forget about swatch. I mean, you can, but you don't have to. It just think of socks, okay? So another thing is about the beads. And I'm gonna tell you another little secret. So let me just get, and I guess I'm behind of you guys. I didn't even start it yet because I'm talking. All right. So what I wanted to mention to you is what I want to tell you a few things about the beads. So I talked a lot in my vlog about it, how important it is to use a good quality beads, but I still want to kind of underline. So we are pre-beading the yarn. I love, knitting with a crochet hook when I apply bead with crochet hook. This is not this, we cannot apply this technique here because we have 18 stitches for a pattern repeat. So our beads are kind of nests in between stitches, which I find very, very appropriate for this design. And it looks very natural to me, and they kind of like, it's more subtle. They're not popping out. They just kind of like blends in. So I like that. And I know it takes time, to place it. It's maybe easier to place bead as we go. But once you place it on your yarn, it's there. So you don't have to worry about it. So you just move your beads when you need. Another thing to consider. So nowadays, when you order, most of the people, when you order your beads, it comes in 20-gram tube, most of the time. So you need 4 of those, 80 grams. So you can place as many beads as I suggest, plus 10 extra. And I do it just because sometimes you can make a mistake counting. And this is just to compensate for a mistake. Or just place the whole, so you don't have to count. Place the whole tube at 20 gram per one skein. So that's just the easier way to go. You're placing extra, but it's this way you don't have to count. So it's easier. Another thing that people are very concerned about is that it's so many beads, you constantly moving them up and down, and it can damage the yarn. So if you're using good quality yarn, it doesn't have to be the most expensive yarn, just a good quality yarn, you will not have this problem. I'll give you example. So when I was making first sample of a fade with 3 beads on each scale, I unravel my shawl 7 times just to get the fading right. 7 times. So 7 times I was like, can you imagine how much I was moving my beads up and down? There is not even a faded, even like a, you don't see any peeling or anything. So, but I'm using good quality beads, and they're not hard to find. Those are Japanese beads. Those are my favorite, Miyuki. And because if you're using check beads, they're not consistent in size. See how consistent they are? So the check beads sometimes comes very flat, and they're not consistent in openings. And we do need like a nice, good opening. So because we're putting the yarn through. So yeah, so that's my little speech about the beads. But I want to tell you a little secret. So on this sample, you can barely see the beads, right? There's a reason for that. So when I picked everything for this sample, I spent, of course, weeks coming up with the right leather and beads and everything. But I think I did too good of a job. So I found perfect beads that blend so beautifully that you can barely see them. So you can, in the real life, it looks great. But when I'm on a video, when I'm on a Zoom, or when I take a picture, it doesn't show up very well. I mean, it still reflects the light, but not enough to kind of like, oh, I want to make a beaded version. So I wanted to really people to like see how beautiful it is. And it did not translate very well when I took a picture. So what I did, I spent time adjusting my, do editing of my photos. So I actually went overboard and I colored every single bead on every single picture. So this is a big secret that I did not like. I'm just telling you and everybody else who's going to watch this video after. But that's why, like you see it, like you kind of see it, but it's not as dark as I suggest. So for this sample, for the new one, I picked those beads, you know, which are purple, but kind of like a deeper, and they're gonna match my picture. So, but I actually literally took every single picture and I went over, and you have to adjust kind of like, it was the whole process, you know, so, but you know, I did it. It's fine. So yeah, that's a little secret here. So any questions about the beads? You can unmute yourself. No,
Do you
you
Will the Toho beads work too?
yes, yes.
Okay.
Did you already got them?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so I was afraid to say something. So I never used them. I purchased them, but again, because I'm OCD, I see the difference between Miyuki and Toho. So Miyuki is literally more rounder. So I I purchased, like, for another project, I purchased Toho because it was perfect purple. And when I start working, I find that they're very consistent, but they're consistently kind of squished. So they're not like super round. And it started bugging me so much. So I actually find Miyuki beads of exactly the same color, and I bought Miyuki one. So if you have a choice, I would suggest for you to go with Miyuki. And they're not like, they're not supporting my work. So it's not like I'm trying to sell them. It's actually really good.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Do you recommend any place to buy them? I haven't gotten the beads yet.
I believe in my pattern, not in a pattern. I believe in Unravelly. I'm gonna put it in a chat actually right now. So we have a Revelry group for, you know, I have a Revelry group and we have a chat thread for this design. And I suggest you join, and just, you don't have to place any pictures or anything if you don't want to, but there's a lot of links to leather, to the beading and so on. But let me just quickly find the link for that, for this my favorite place to get the beads. This is definitely not the only place, but this is where I get my beads. So just a second. It's called Aura Crystals, and I'm putting, it's for people, I'm saying it out loud for people who's gonna watch this later. Shows.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, I placed it in a chat. So I suggest you open oh, cute little pin. Really? I never got cute little pin. And I ordered a lot of beads from that. Okay, barrel and beads, super accurate photo. Okay, that's wonderful. So yeah, so I suggest if you looking for beads, read this. Fire Mountain, for sure. Fire Mountain is amazing, but I find it's very hard to navigate because when you're looking for example, if I'm looking for purple color, I just find like in our crystal website, you can pick them by size and color. Maybe you can do it in the Fire Mountain too, but I find it like overwhelming. So, but again, it's so many different places to get them. Funny enough, Amazon, you would think it would be cheaper. It's not. So it's like, it's actually more expensive to buy beads on Amazon than to buy it from a specific website. And just little note. What color beads did you use for completely blended in? I have to look. So is that what you want? You want a completely blend in effect? Yes, okay. So I have to get up. So let me get up and pull it. Okay, just a second. And while I'm doing it, if you want to ask a question or make a comment, go ahead, okay? So just a sec. This is my bead box. Caravan.com. I've never seen this website. I'm gonna check it out. Okay. So it's this. Let me just see the number. So I mean, this is beautiful purple, right? Just gorgeous. But it doesn't photograph very well. So you see the difference? See, this is what I choose right now because it would show up better. But in real life, this one looks great. So the number is, I'm gonna put it there. It's Miyuki, MI6. 6 is a size. It's very important that you have this. 2607. And it's called Sparkling Purple Lined Crystal. Let me just put it there. My pleasure. I'm glad you asked because I love it. It just, as a designer, I always have to think what colors, basically anything I pick, it has to look good in a picture because otherwise it would just be not noticed. So I lean to publish a lot of cool colors like blues and purples and teals because I love those colors, but it's also they look really, really good in a photograph. So I have to constantly think about that. So in real life, like for example, this one, I just made it for myself for events. So in real life, I like to wear more muted, like a black, gray, and neutral colors. But you know, for the designs, I want something that looks good on a picture. And I love it. I just like I don't wear it personally too much. So the colors, yes, that's for sure. Yeah, for sure. So did I miss anything in the chat? If somebody asked and I didn't respond. Yes, so Daniel saying is Toho is slightly more squared off, but still works great. Yes. So, but again, if you ask me and you have a choice, I would go with Miyuki because it is rounded. Painting the photo beads, yeah, must taking you hours. Yes, it did take me hours, but this is kind of normal thing. Everything I do takes hours, so it's absolutely fine. But it was like a little over the board, but I just wanted to kind of like make more justice to the design. Another thing I want to tell you is leather tassels. So I know when I did my first, did you video tutorial for stitch or it's an instruction, which stitch? Do you mind, do you mind describing which stitch?
Hello.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. Good day. So I was wondering about the dragon stitch. Did you do any tutorial to explain how to do it, or it's probably in the instructions, but I didn't read it through?
You mean the dragon scale?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all, oh, I see who is asking. Hi. Yeah, no, it's just all in an instruction. Yeah.
Okay, super.
Yeah. So I didn't do the whole video. I have plenty of videos. It's all linked in a pattern, finishing techniques, but not the stitch itself, because if I put a stitch itself in a video, it's basically I'm putting it out, out there, for other people to use for free. And it's not really right, I think, so yeah, but it's all in instructions. But thank you for this question because I forgot to mention something. So if you're using Le Bien-Aimé, like suggested yarn that I suggested, it's Superwash Merino. It's one of the best. So basically Superwash or just plain merino wool is the best for this design because what you need is something really bouncy, something that kind of like, you know, go back to original form. So those type of yarns are best for three-dimensional texture. So give you example, this shawl here, I did with Swanky Socks by Magpie. I don't know if you know this yarn. It's amazing. But it feels very luxurious, and it has a sheen because it got 10% of cashmere. And I already have I already had the experience working with silk blends and cashmere blends for this design. So I knew I had to go down in needle size because even those 10% of cashmere, or it could be silk or alpaca, whatever it is, what it does, it relaxes the fiber and it kills the texture. So be very careful if you're using anything but pure merino wool or wool. Well, wool is maybe depends on the wool, but you know what I mean, like just a bouncy, nice bouncy yarn. So if you do, like for example, like here, I used DK Swanky Socks, 10% cashmere. I went down to 2.5 US needles just to compensate for this 10% of cashmere. So my shawl is slightly smaller, but I wouldn't worry about it too much, you know, because like it's not a fitted garment and still pretty big, and it still does everything I needed to, but it keeps texture very nicely, you know, like pretty much the same as the ones behind me. So,
Yeah,
but
I've ordered La Bien-Aimée, so I'm waiting for the yarn. So do you recommend doing a gauge? Sorry, I'm a francophone.
no, it's absolutely fine. I just said we can
Gauge? How do you say that? Gauge?
gauge, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. Well, English is my second language too, so it's yeah, but it is gauge. So you can. So what, okay, let's talk specifically about you. Are you a loose knitter or you tight? What how do you kind of describe your knitting?
I think I'm tight. Yeah.
Good. Good. Tight is great for this design. So if you know you're tight knitter, you don't even, it's a secret, you don't even need to make a swatch, okay? So you can just think of, have you ever done any socks?
Yes. Yes.
So you know how when you make socks, it's important that it's not loose, you know, so it will
Yeah.
kind of last. Think of sock knitting, okay? So
Okay. Okay.
if I put it here, you see there's a yarn over, so there are openings here, but the rest is very, I mean, pretty tight, but you don't have to struggle. You don't have to, that's why I recommend US 3 needle for DK weight. So to compensate for, like, I don't want you to, you know, knit it super tight. Just relax. But you don't have to make a gauge. So if your shawl comes out smaller than mine, it means it's gonna be even better. And if for everybody else, if you think you are more on the looser side, go down to 2.5. It's going to be a little bit smaller, but it's not going to kill the whole thing. You're going to be, you know, maybe like overall it may change to less than an inch in width, you know, so it's fine. But thank you for the question.
Thank you. You were talking about the leather. Sorry, I've interrupted you.
Oh no, you didn't. You didn't. That's why we're here. It's
Good.
I'm glad
Thanks.
this question. So the leather. So when I have a background in fashion design. Like I'm a professional fashion designer actually, and I used to design for Coldwater Creek, so surroundings and Steinmart. Remember those stores? So you may have one of my jackets or something in your closet. So that's why I really pay attention to the finishing techniques of everything. So unless like nothing is accidental, in all of my designs, but so if there's a purpose for everything there, and sometimes I go extra mile, like with you know, pearl through the back loop, just so it has like almost commercially finished look. So, so edging is very important and just like a focal points as well. But my first degree was in a costume design for theater. So I have this like, like a little bit of drama in my design, not too much. So, so I love mixing textures. So here we're mixing beads and wool, but I think wool and leather is absolutely beautiful marriage. Just they belong to each other, with each other. So for this design, I recommend real leather. It doesn't have to be real leather. You can just use any pleather, any kind of artificial one. I just like real thing, because it just feels like real. But again, it doesn't matter. So the template for those elements that I drew, like I did design of it, is in the pattern. And I have a video tutorial how to do it. And let me tell you, before that, did not have any experience working with leather at all. So I wanted to come up with something that looks beautiful, looks like it's, like it belonged to, I don't know, it's professionally done, but doesn't need any special skills or special equipment. So to do this, all you need is leather, which is actually wildly available. And I have links I believe in Unravelly where I got it. So most of them, those pieces I got in just a regular craft stores like Joann's. And I'm sorry, I'm talking to Americans, like, like I know there are no Joann's in Europe, but Amazon is an amazing marketplace for scraps of leather and in amazing colors. So, but everything here I actually got in Hobby Lobby in Joann's right here. So, and I used the coupon, so it was like really cheap. But I got lucky with the silver. So all you need is sharp scissors, marker, ruler, glue, like strong glue, like make sure it's clear, because sometimes, like one time I made a mistake. I purchased the white glue. I just didn't pay attention, and now I just want to make sure that you get the clear glue. This is very important, and that's it. So this, I don't suggest to cut out those pieces with X-Acto knife. So some of you may know what it is. X-Acto knife is a super sharp knife that, used for this type of work. I actually used very sharp scissors. That's it, like small scissors. Just that kind of I have in a picture and on a video. And those stitches here, I did just for texture. I did on my sewing machine. I don't have any special sewing machine, just a regular nice, sewing machine, but it's not designed for leather or heavy duty machine. But you don't even have to do it. You can just, glue those pieces together. That's it. And again, I am referring you to Danielle, who did 7 shawls, and she did quite a few of those, right? Yes.
Yeah, I did. In fact, I already started making the tassels for number 8. So
there you go. It's kind of addictive, isn't it?
what I like to do is I like to get a few different colors of leather and cut out the motifs and then actually
play
with them. Yeah, play around with the colors and put it up against the shawl and see what I like best with it. And I think you might have mentioned this one time too, but sometimes what actually looks great with the finished shawl is different than what you initially think.
Yeah, you never know how it's gonna work.
Yeah, so I like to have some options and then decide at the last minute actually which colors I'll use for the motifs.
Right. Thank you, Daniel. So one kind of like a suggestion. So, oh, and by the way, once you do this, you can put it on your bag. I mean, it makes a beautiful gift as well. So I do encourage you just to at least try. And one little thing I suggest, 2 little things. So your second tassel, if you never done it before, your second tassel will look better than the first, right? Makes sense, right? So what you can do, you can do all the steps that is in a tutorial and on a video tutorial. But instead of using leather, you can use recycled denim, like old jeans. And so you do it only for the steps. And then once you figure out what to do and what not to do, you can go and start cutting, your precious leather. When you're buying leather, the thing you have to look for, it should be bendable like this. So if it's very stiff, it would be impossible to cut or very hard to cut with scissors. So look for something on the softer side, okay? So another thing is you can use suede, but I find the more reflective metallic finish looks the best for the top part. So, and you really need like that much of a piece, for those elements. For the tassels, you need a little bit more. So tassels could be anything, suede or, just a regular leather, whatever it is. But I do such, like, if you can find metallic finish, so just a little bit, maybe just put it on the top. It reflects the light. It looks great. So that's a little thing. Any questions on that? No? Okay, I have Jesse's asking, these beads are weighing down my working yarn and messing up my tension. Any tips on where to keep them? So that's a very good question. So you have to figure out what works for you. And once you go kind of a little bit on a shawl, it would be less heavy. In the beginning, it's really a lot of beads. So I totally understand. So what I do, I actually try to keep them kind of like, I don't let them kind of like, I try to keep my skein while I work kind of tight. How to say it? Not all over the place. But I never had an issue personally with beads messing up with my gauge. So one of the things, maybe if it's actually weighing down that much, maybe you should go back and change to US 2.5 needle. So if it makes you knit looser, so maybe that's a solution, but I wouldn't go less than 2.5 US because otherwise it would be just too difficult to work with. Like if you switching to size 2. Did I answer your question? Are you using a button or something to hold the leather tassels? Great question. So the tassel itself, and it's in a video that I have, it's actually sewn to the edge. But here I have a magnetic snap. So you just need a set of 2. And it holds beautifully. I mean, you can put a button, but I just don't see the point since we have the option of magnetic snaps. And also they come in a different colors. Like usually this is pewter, but they also have like an antique gold and silver. So this one is like, even that it's actually on the right side, but I don't find it obnoxious. So it's like, now I'm kind of showing it in your face, but when you're wearing it, you barely notice it. And the reason you have it is, let me show you very quickly how I suggest to style. So remember those triangles that we have on the edge that creates, like a nice and very clean edges. But also what it does, it makes the piece slightly more heavier and it drapes better. So I stretched my shawl, just the ends, and start bringing ends together. And you see how it start draping on its own, right? So I don't mess with it. I just let it do the draping. And then I'm just wrapping around my neck. Just adjust a little bit and pull it up. So you can have those pieces hanging, or you can bring it to the front and snap it. So it's actually hangs right here. So you have additional kind of focal point right here. Or my favorite way to wear it, because I live in Dallas, you know, it's like it's never hot cold enough to wear it around my neck, only if I travel. But what I do, I actually put it on my one shoulder, and I snap it just like a picture on the Reverly. I snap it right here on the side. So it just kind of hanging on one shoulder, and it shows off the texture so beautifully. And it's also those leather tassels, they make a piece slightly more heavier and it anchors it down. So, and you have another focal point. So if people looking at your work, they say, oh, beautiful texture. Oh, you have a leather tassel, you know, it's another thing. So it's kind of fun. And again, you can make it like, for example, if you make not 2, but 3, you can actually add it to your project bag or somewhere else. It's just beautiful. So you can have the whole set. Okay, would moving beads further away from area knitting would be better? Yeah, sure, for sure. So it's just, it's a great question. So what I suggest to do, so I actually, when I start, I move them like really further away. Please do not, no, this is rude. He's bored. I'm sorry. Come here. I want to show how cute you are. Come here. Come here. I actually dressed him up just in case if you want. He's wearing a really cute hoodie. Shh. Come here. Come here. No, come here. He wants to play. He's bored. Sorry. So I move it like toward the skin, toward the cake. And then I move, like, for example, I need like 3 beads, right? So I move them this way. So they never hang out, they never hang to the end. Does it make sense? Okay, big solid to hold my yarn. Okay, yeah, that's a very good, Susan, it's a really great suggestion. Okay, come here. Come here. You have to come down. Say hi, Squiddy. His name is Squid. Say hi, Squiddy. Say hi.
Aw.
So he's wearing a bee hoodie. So I dressed him up so he would look so cute. Yes. So can you please behave? Yeah, I know. He's usually very, it's hard to see him, you know, but here he is. Okay, go play. So he is actually my grandson. He belongs to my daughter. So she went back to school and he's living with us for a while. So cute. Yeah, he's adorable. He's actually a very nice boy. I don't know what happened to him. So yeah. So anybody wants to make a comment or like, oh my goodness. Okay, Susan on the row 40. Yes. It's a very good, okay, so Susan, it's a very good question. And I believe the answer is in the pattern. So it says drop yarn A and continue with yarn B only, right? So because we do not carry, let me just show you. So this part is, I tried to explain it like really kind of like detailed in the pattern. So let me show. So what you're gonna do, just a little kind of tip for the future. So Susan is on row 40, probably not many people at the same at the same spot, but when you're reaching row 40 and it's like it's a different sample, so it's you're not there yet, you will have to introduce new yarn B at the very end of your work when you're looking at the right side, and it would be on your left side right here. So what I do, and don't tell anybody, I actually attach the new yarn to the working yarn by tying a knot. And it's just very secure and easy way to do it. For me, you do what you do. And again, because what we do, So you will be attaching it right here. So then when we block it, we block those triangles on the wrong side. I don't even get rid of those little knots. What's there? Quiet. Carry it on the reverse. No, you don't carry it at all. You just drop it. So so basically you cast on this with what you cast on with 2 stitches. Okay, I need to give him something to be quiet. Here. With 2 yarns held together, then you turn to the wrong side and knit all those stitches, but you drop yarn A, you continue with B only. And it's yeah, so it is in the pattern. And then so yeah, so it's like your yarn A will be hanging right here. So it's important, it's always, you always introduce yarn only on this side. There is a reason for that. That's why it took me 2 years. So don't redesign it, trust me on that. So
Yeah, I got confused by the drop and carry because the 1950s patterns that my mother taught me to knit with say when you're changing colors, you drop one, but then you carry it along on the back side. So the drop and carry kind of was like, okay, so I'm going to carry that back and forth all the way across.
I'm not familiar with those patterns, so but I'll keep it in mind because
Yeah, no. And again, it's just having, my mother was a designer and her mother was a designer and did custom knits for Nordstrom's, and so I have things like that.
No, you don't have to carry.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, so we always change yarn colors on this side, and we never work with more than 2 colors at once.
And when I'm on yarn forward or line and I'm casting on those 9, I'm going to cast it on with both color A and color B.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes.
got it.
Yeah, and this is very important. Sure. No, I'm glad you asked. It's yeah, it's because it's like it's a very crucial part of this. So what I do during the classes, oh yeah, Eva, she has to go. Wonderful. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you. So during the class, like I actually for this I develop a separate class on a swatch. Can you please stop? And so we work on a swatch, but yeah, so it's like it takes a while, you know, like it takes, you know, like 2 hours when we in a class, not 2 hours, like 1 hour to go through the color stuff. But I was just hoping, you know, like I did a detailed explanation. I see the point why you saying that. But so it would be more obvious. So, but please, if anybody have questions, I have my email address in Unravelly below the pattern. Please ask me. So, and if something is off, just shoot a picture, take a picture, and we will figure out together. Because I know it's not any like super easy pattern to go by. But I find it addictive. Like I mean, I like my dragon scales. So.
Well, I like it because when I start a new row, it's pretty easy and intuitive about how it repeats.
Yeah, so it's very, yeah, now you see the logic behind it. It's basically just repeating of the first 22 rows, literally.
But then I've now basically done over 60 rows of this thing because I did the first 31 on Dragon Lore 1 and ripped it out and then started this one this morning. So
did you add the beads for this one or no?
I did not. I mean, I was looking at trying to fit, and then I was like, you know what? I just want to just do the straight pattern, get kind of the rhythm going of how it is, and so that when I can look back at my mistakes and see where I made my mistake and how to cheat at fixing it.
Yeah, cheating is important in this one. So okay, I'm gonna do, was I talking about cheating yet or no? Because it's my second event, so I forgot, was I mentioning the first or second one? So
you covered the cheating.
Oh, I did. Okay, good. So good. Because sometimes I get kind of like, I wasn't sure. I have 2 skeins and they had, so Wendy is asking, I have 2 skeins that are hand dyed. variegated. Would you add a second skein at the place between yarn B and C? Are you working? Okay, question. So I need a little bit more details. So you have 4 skeins, right, Wendy? And 2 of them variegated hand dyed, right? You can unmute yourself if you want to ask. So if you, yeah, I don't see any problem with it at all. So it's actually the fate written pretty well for this design. And if you look at those skeins by you know, original skeins by La Bien-Aimée, like one of them is actually solid color. And it's the only solid in 4. But if you look, you would not even guess it, that it's solid. So I wouldn't worry too much, Wendy, about that. Oh, okay, you have trouble with unmute. I think whatever you choose to do, it would blend in beautifully. So it's all about the colors. So I have a tendency to start with a lighter color, it go darker. And the reason for that, first of all, it's easier to work with a lighter color in the beginning, first of all, when you start the project. And also, I think that's the most you're gonna see when it, you know, like this part here. So I think the texture shows better in a lighter color, so that's why I do it. So if I would start with a really variegated top one here, it would take away from the texture here. So it's just something that I think would have a better, but you do whatever you want to do.
Alexandra, I have a question.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
got the yarn, the special edition, the Dragon Scales from Moondrake from Rachel. Since I got the cashmere from La Bien-Aimée, and I saw that it was not convenient to use cashmere for the first time.
Mhm.
If I want to use later on, and I want to make like a collar with the dragon's design, at what point should I stop to make like I saw a collar posted, I think a gentleman was using a gray collar from your dragon shawl. It was smaller, it was just for.
Okay, I see what you're asking. So I can't answer to you right now because I just cannot, I don't remember. Like I could not tell you right away. But you can figure it out kind of like you know where to stop. And just a second, let me find, I'm gonna put it here. So cashmere, is it fingering or decay?
I think the cashmere is fingering.
And is it like a pure cashmere or a certain percentage of it?
It's from La Bien-Aimée. It's I think it's cashmere, pure cashmere.
Oh,
no, it's 75% merino and 15% cashmere.
I never
and 10% nylon.
Yeah, so I never used that yarn. Like I never used their cashmere one, so that's why I'm not aware. So that's why I ask. So okay, I think you're talking about this one. It's called I'm Dragon 2. And so basically what you want to do, you want to use this pattern, but you want to make it did it go? Oh yeah.
I want to make the whole shawl, but
Okay.
if I have leftover yarn, I might like a collar, a smaller. I live in Ecuador in the mountain, but we do not have a really cold weather. So usually it's better like a collar only on rainy days I use shawls. That's why
No,
I
I
want.
understand. So what I did, honestly, I cannot tell you right now. Like if you email me, like I can tell you the numbers, like because I have to open a separate pattern right now and look and read through that to tell you where to stop because it's a very specific row where you have to stop. So I put in a chat and I suggest yeah, so Yes, yeah, Natalie, thank you. There is I put I'm Dragon 2 pattern and I'm Dragon. So those are smaller ones. They are designed for, but you want to use this yarn. Okay. So okay, I'll tell you right now where let me just open a pattern and tell you when to stop. So to make
I'll get the smaller pattern in rubber leaf. It's available. Thank you for
sure, but just in case, okay, for everybody else. So if you want to stop, like you just or make it bigger, you have to finish with rows 17 through 24 or 23. So it will make sense to well, just write it down if you want to. Can you please don't be so rude? You're being very rude. So yeah, so it's like basically the whole pattern. You work first 20, 21, 23 rows, and then you repeat them. So what I suggest to do, if you have to make it larger or bigger, the shawl, stop at the 23rd row. That's it. So again, it's not at the 15th. It will make sense to you once you work on it. But yeah, so this way you don't, if you don't want to purchase another pattern, so you can just go with it, you know, and adjust to that. But for the cashmere, so say it again. So you think it's fingering or decay? Because again, I'm not familiar with this particular yarn.
I think it's a fingering weight. That might, and I have enough yarn, so probably I will have to go, like you say, use the smaller needle and continue and maybe adjust using the 23 row repeat. So if I need to go bigger in size, I will
Okay.
figure out. Thank
Okay.
you.
Sure. You are being really, really rude. So, one thing, let me just think. So there's a cashmere because it's like 75% cashmere. It's just keep in mind, this is not the best pattern for such a beautiful yarn. Not because it doesn't deserve a beautiful yarn, but this type of fiber is a texture killer. So it will not keep very good texture. So honestly, my suggestion is to keep this beautiful yarn for another project. And for my smaller designs that I linked here, you actually need only one skein. So I'm just saying, like, leave it for another special occasion, if it makes sense, okay?
Thank you.
Sure. Anybody else?
This is Wendy. I finally figured out the mute.
Yeah, good.
So I have two skeins, but both of them are like double-sized skeins. They're very big.
Okay.
And it is merino. They're it's a variegated teal and like a deep green.
Mm-hmm.
But one of them's a little bit lighter, so I thought I'd start with that one, like you say about the texture.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought that I would get the color, download the color one, and go to the midpoint between B and C.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I would be adding the second skein in.
Okay.
Because there's no overlap, is there?
No.
You just change on that row.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, question, are they supposedly the same color? I understand one.
Right.
Okay. So you know what then? And you want to use only those two skeins, right? You don't have those are large skeins. You don't need other skeins, right? You don't.
Right. Yeah. Oh gosh. They're 225 grams each.
Oh, perfect.
560 yards. Yeah, they're huge.
So then you know what I suggest for you to do? Use this one color one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Being very annoying and it's not nice. So you're really embarrassing yourself right now. I'm not happy with you. Just a second. I'm trying to give him something so he would be quiet. No, here. So I suggest for you to use this one color one and just, do you know how to alternate skeins? Have you ever done it? You do?
I have not yet,
But it's basically, it's very, very simple. You work with two skeins at once, switch them. You don't have to cut. You just like a twist and it's basically you twist them at the edge And you will always have 2 on one side. And then so you work 2 rows, like 1 row and come back and then switch it. That's
Okay.
it. So this way they're gonna be absolutely perfectly blended together and you don't have to think.
Okay.
A good thing about this pattern, no, please don't do this. You're being very, very not nice. Remember I was saying that at the edge we have those little triangles, right?
Uh-huh.
So you're gonna be doing twisting and switching right at the edge here. So and then we will block them to the wrong side. So if you afraid that it's not gonna be very nice and neat, which I'm sure you can do, don't worry about it because it's gonna be on those like wrong blocked on the wrong side. So even
Gotcha.
if you never tried alternating skeins, this is really a project to try it on. So
Oh,
and
nice.
yeah, so it's I wouldn't worry too much. So cast on with one color and then right away introduce the second and just switch them again, like you start with this, for example.
Yeah.
Work, come back, switch, and so on. That's it.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Yeah.
Yay. I'm so excited about
Oh,
this.
I'm glad you asked. Yeah. So just are you placing beads?
Yes.
Okay.
I have those beautiful Picassos.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
I know them. They're very artsy. So what I suggest for you to do then, just play, of course, you have to place 40 grams on each skein. Okay, that's it.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Thank you.
My pleasure. I'm so glad you asked. Anybody else before we go? Ah, here's Daniel is showing. Hold on, Daniel. If I see if I can. Okay, you are not at a spotlight. Here you go. Ah, beautiful. That's your Picassos, right?
This one has just like a sort of a mauve colored bead.
Because I
Good.
know you like Picassos too.
Yeah, I did Picassos for the rust colored one.
Just for people who doesn't know, Picasso beads, it's a Miyuki beads, but they have an extra kind of like the extra ornate, right? Like there's some extra to it, and it looks absolutely insane, beautiful in person. Yeah,
Sure, if it'll show up if I hold them up or not. But they just have a really nice, like sort of antiqued
yes, finish. Yeah.
finish.
Yeah.
So how do you call the beads? Sorry.
Picasso.
Picasa. Okay.
Yeah, Picasso, just like an artist, but it's a Miyuki beads. It's just like it's like a separate kind of like like a niche of beads of Miyuki. They call it Picasso. And I don't think they come in every possible color. There's a limit to it. But it's like you being very mean. Really, really not nice. Here. I'm trying to give him little toys and scraps of paper so he would be quiet. Usually he's so good. Usually when I teach, he sits right behind me and sleeping and sometimes snoring. So I was hoping he will do it now, but he's not. So yeah, so I didn't let you talk. Not much, but I was I just wanted to kind of try to answer questions you didn't ask and answer the questions you ask. Do we use the full force skeins? Excellent questions. You're gonna have the most left is A, but you will have, I want to say 20 grams, maybe a little more left of each color. So you really kind of like use most of them. But if you're using a Le Bien-Aimé, because if you look, they're not very large skeins. They are 250 something, if I'm not mistaken. So they are, where does it say? 252 yards. So if you're using larger, like sometimes decay comes in 300 skeins, right? So if you have 300 yards per skein, you only need 3 skeins. But if you're doing a color, like if it's like if you're using 4 different color, the pattern is written for 4 different colors. So you still need a 4th, sorry. But you will have leftover in this case. But with La Bien-Aimée, you're gonna make the most out of it. So you do have to pay attention to your gauge, you know, just make sure it's not too loose, okay? So I'm gonna put in the chat my email address.
So the real question, Alexandra, is which sample are you keeping and which one is going to Paris, the light beads or the dark beads?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. I think I want to keep the dark beads for myself, but at the same time, if Amy will be showing it in Paris, I want her to have the best sample. So, you caught me off guard. I don't know. We'll see. Well, I didn't even start yet. I'm starting this weekend. So it's, can I show you very quickly? So I don't have La Bien-Aimée for another solid sample, but I want to make another solid sample for myself, one color. So I got this. Isn't it nice? So it's an olive green with kind of like matte bronze Miyuki. So it's gonna be just like that, but in this. And
Very dragony.
very dragon, yeah. Kind of almost like a camouflage color. But I'm excited about this. So I am going to be busy, but I have I have to be honest. I'm doing something for Mulabriga right now for the new publication. I don't know when it's gonna be published. And I am criminally behind. So I have to work certain amount every day. And I had a unexpected oral surgery yesterday, so which threw me completely off. So I think tomorrow I'm gonna just like lock myself. It's, you know, I'm not gonna lock myself, but I'm just gonna say for everybody else, I am really, really busy recovering, but I'll be knitting like crazy. And probably I'm gonna watch like, I don't know, the whole trilogy of Lord of the Rings or Hobbit, just to go through that.
Perfect.
Yeah, isn't it like right? I have an excuse tomorrow. So maybe both, because I have to work so much tomorrow too, because it has to be in the office on Monday. So I have to really hurry up. So it's 7:20 and I'm so glad, I'm so happy. Like it's almost 30 people. I'm so excited and thank you so much for coming. You know, it's so anybody else want to ask questions before, you know, we go kind of like we say goodbye?
Alessandra, thank you so much for your time and explaining everything. This is exciting. I know for those who've never done it, when you do the first one, you conquer that fear of the burning through the back loop, you're good to go.
Yes, yes. So, but again, you can substitute it, remember, for Pro 2 together. So, you're gonna be okay. Nobody will die if you do that.
Yep, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
My pleasure, and thank you so much, everybody who were, here. I'm actually going to make it as a video and post it on YouTube. I hope you're okay with it, and so you can watch it. The only thing which we're gonna lose is a chat. So chat will not be shown in a video. So again, it was wonderful to see you all. I apologize for my little grandson. He's artsy, but cute. Anyway, you have a wonderful rest of the evening, and I'll see you at some point, right?
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Bye.
Bye.